Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show. And now, here's Jeff Crilley.
It was a simple tweet of his accidental misadventure at the Olympic Village in a bathroom. That tweet, a photo of a bathroom door that he burst through, went viral and almost melted the internet. Johnny Quinn joins us live. I remember watching this all over the place. Name some of the shows that you were on because of this. Good Morning America. What kind of shows were you on?
Sure, CNN, Good Morning America, NBC, Entertainment Tonight, US. I mean, you name it. Everybody got a real big kick out of that door.
Every one of those Olympic athletes must have said to themselves, man, if I'd only known all I have to do is punch through a door to become a household name, I would have done it myself. Do you look back on it now and say, wow, I mean, without that kind of act, I would have been just another member of the Olympic bobsled team that kind of fades into history. And now you've got an amazing speaking career. I mean, was that a God thing, or what happened there?
Well, I tell you, we joke, you spend all that time, the sacrifice, the training to becoming an Olympian, but you break down one door in Russia and things go crazy. So who knew a door would create that much excitement? And it is pretty neat to give me a platform to truly open the door to some opportunity.
Well, talk about your speaking career now, because people who have not been keeping track, I know you're working with my daughter Sarah in our Speakers Bureau, and you're just everywhere. I mean, even our last guest said that she just heard you speak, and you're an amazing speaker. So talk about your speaking career.
Well, it's something I'm passionate about. As a professional athlete, I've been fortunate enough to be around some high-quality individuals. And as we were preparing for the Olympics, we had a chance to listen to Navy SEALs, very successful businessmen and women, and understand how they think. And so to go to schools, to deliver corporate training, to be a keynote speaker at banquets, and share my knowledge to encourage, inspire, it's something I sincerely enjoy.
So for somebody who has not heard you speak, what are some takeaways? What are some things that my listener can take from who has not heard you speak?
Sure. I talk a lot about leadership and teamwork, some of the goal-setting strategies and techniques that I used and applied to make the Olympic team. And so from a business standpoint, it's about bringing a fresh perspective to the table, bring a new outlook to a company team. But I also speak on motivation and inspiration. When I turned pro at 22 years old, I signed my first NFL contract with the Buffalo Bills. But by the age of 26, I'd been cut 3 times. I lost $2.6 million, and I blew out my knee. And so at that point, my dream was over. And so at age 30, to become an Olympian for the United States of America, where in the world of professional athletics, they're calling 30 old, to walk in opening ceremonies, wear the red, white, and blue. I tell you, it was so special. So deliver a keynote on inspiration to continue to go after your dream, although it might not be the path you anticipated, but go after it.
So if I'm in corporate America, if I'm in a dead-end job and I feel like, gosh, I hate my life. I'm coming on Monday, Monday rolls around and I hate my life. Are there some things I can do within a company to change the way I view my company?
There is. Everything we do, whether it's at work, whether it's at home or in the community, begins with how we think. And so for my 8 years as a professional athlete, all the coaches and knowledge and speakers that we've had come in to help address us on how to perform at a high level got me thinking, what if I put together some resources that anybody could use to change the way they think? And so at my website, johnnyquinnusa.com, if you just put /think, you can download a free PDF of some of the tools that I use as I prepared for the Olympics and what I use now. So that's johnnyquinnusa.com/think. And I've got a free download that you can see some of the tools, kind of get a peek inside my toolbox on what I use.
Absolutely. And now, do companies bring you in to do some training? If a company was having morale issues, could they bring you in to kind of pump up the troops?
You know, they do. Sales teams where a lot of people on the front line often hear the word no, how to stay motivated. Companies that have monthly, quarterly, or annual meetings or leadership conferences bring me in as a speaker, but also leadership retreats where a company brings in their executive team or their top producers. Again, how do you operate at a high level? And so some of those are what I really, really enjoy is bringing that perspective.
One of the things that I've always believed is that adversity toughens us, and when adversity happens, I think most of us look at it as, why did this bad thing happen to me? But I have to believe that an Olympic athlete, in order to get there, has got to look at adversity as an opportunity or a hurdle to overcome. Talk about that.
You know, before I got named to the Olympic team, I had to crash 8 times in our bobsled. Let me tell you, going 80 miles an hour with no seat belts, every crash is scary and difficult to overcome. But I tell you, a foundation that I think we all learned growing up is never quit. You might have to adjust your path, but never quit. Because I tell you, after that 8th and final crash, to get named to the Olympic team, what an unbelievable story and what an unbelievable moment.
So how do you I love this topic about never quitting, because at a certain point you do change directions. So, you know, in your NFL career, you had some adversity, and at a certain point you just had to say, okay, I'm still talented, but this door is closing. I got to open another one.
You know, at that point when I saw that football dream come to an end, I realized I had more in the tank. And when bobsled came on my plate, I'm going to be honest with you, there was fear there. Fear that I didn't grow up in ice, right, living in Texas. Who thought a Texas boy could become a Winter Olympian? But when you go after something, the best thing you can do is borrow wisdom, learn from others. And so that's what I did. In my first year as a rookie bobsledder, I made it a point and an effort to go search out Olympians from 2010 and 2006 and 2002 and ask them questions. Hey, how did you overcome this? If this was new to you, what did you do? And so that's where I found some encouragement, was borrowing wisdom from people who've already been there.
So what is I know as an athlete and a competitor, you want to rise to the top. Is your goal now to be the top of motivational speaking? I mean, you look at the Les Browns and the Tony Robbins. How big do you want this to be?
You know, a long-term vision of mine is speaking in a sold-out stadium in front of 40 to 50,000 people, delivering an inspirational keynote that, when they leave, will take action and that they can apply in their life, at their home, at their work, and in their community.
How does the thrill of a great speech compare to sports?
You know, I was talking to my wife about this last week as I was preparing for a keynote I delivered to the Texas PTA. It was an event that they held here in Dallas at the Hilton Anatole. 3,300 people, presidents, PTA presidents, and board members. And, you know, I get the same feeling before I speak, just like I did before competition, where you've got those butterflies, you've got that kind of a little bit of anxiety, and that's how I know I'm ready to rock and roll for a great keynote.
That's awesome. I speak as well, and I used to speak to a TV camera every night that would reach 200,000 people, but speaking to a live audience of 50 would give me a better high, if you will, than speaking on the news every night. So I completely relate to you as a fellow speaker. What's next for you? Would you like, you talked about the stadium filled with 40, 50,000 people. If somebody's listening to this broadcast who wants to get a hold of you and invites you to be the keynote for their conference, how do they get a hold of you?
Sure. I'd go to my website, www.johnnyquinnusa. There you'll find video clips of me speaking. You'll find testimonials from executives, leaders in the community on my stage presence, my message, and how the audience left. And so I'd encourage you to look at that. And it would make a lot of sense to download my Think Guide. Again, johnnyquinnusa.com/think, so you can get an idea on how I prepared for the Olympics and what I use now to continue to move forward.
I love it. Johnny Quinn, breaking down doors, one speech at a time. Thanks for being a guest on the Jeff Crilley Show.
Thanks for having me on.
Just ahead, Dallas has more restaurants per capita than New York or any other American city. What's trending in the sizzling hot dining scene in Dallas? We'll serve up the latest dish on dining when we come back on the Jeff Crilley Show.